What's up, everybody? Armchair Quarterbacks here for your Week 9 recaps. On this one, we have the commish versus this host slaps. That is my team losing, underscoring with a score of 75.44 to Alex's 94.30. So really quick, we'll go over my team. I started Justin Herbert, Puka Nacua, Terry McLaurin, Breece Hall, Ken Walker, Dalton Kincaid, Austin Eckler, and Jacoby Myers. So taking a look at my team, Shawn, what did you see here?
Ooh, it was a low-scoring weekend for a lot of teams. I think me and Manny were the only ones to break 100, so feels like the first couple weeks of the season again where everyone was struggling to break 100. Really low scoring. Man, that's crazy. I'm seeing some of this. Looking at Herbert, that 7 points is not good there. And I have Herbert in another league. How did Herbert look tonight? Because I know he only scored. He didn't even break 150, I believe it. Yeah, 136.
No, yeah. In the first half, he wasn't really throwing that much. It was a weird game because in this one, I thought the offenses were going to play up to the defenses. Obviously, the Jets have a really stout defense, and the Chargers their defense is pretty decent up against the run, but very leaky up against the pass. So I thought it was going to be a pretty decent game for both Herbert and Zach Wilson. But especially in the first half, both quarterbacks just kept getting sacked over and over. And, Zach Wilson, the way he plays, he's going to run. And once he's under pressure, he takes a sack for loss. And it's a huge sack for loss. Fortunately, Justin Herbert's a little bit smarter than that, and he throws the ball away. But it was one of those games where nothing in the air game could get going at all.
Well, it was really weird, too, because I got home and I was trying to load the box score. And I see that the very, very first play is a return touchdown.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And, like I said, I have Herbert in another league. So I'm like, that's not good because now it's going to be running. We've talked about it before with the negative correlation here with your Herbert and Eckler stack. And even Eckler, I mean, we saw this last year too. I believe it was Manny that had Eckler. And so it was this, funny enough, I think he had the Eckler Herbert stack too, right?
I think so, yeah.
But it's just funny that Eckler is always being saved by these, like tonight, the touchdown deodorant. You look at the 2 rushing touchdowns, that's 12 points. So if he doesn't score a touchdown or if Herbert gets those touchdowns, your boy only scores 8 points.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is in this game for sure, there was a lot of flags thrown, a lot of penalties. So there was a lot of positive yardage run, both my boys, Eckler and Breece Hall. And they break off like a 5, 10, 15 yard run, and then all of a sudden flags thrown and it comes back. So there was some rushes where they started to get going, and Breece Hall looked really good. He had some plays where he made tacklers miss. Just straight up spin move, and they just straight up miss. But the flag was thrown, and then the play comes back. So it was just unfortunate that a lot of those yardage was called back for my boys.
Yeah. Let's just go down the list here really quick. Puka Nacua. Same thing with Cooper Kupp. I forget if it was the CBS guys or I think it was the CBS guys. They're saying that they could see even Cooper Kupp being a bench.
Yeah.
If it's going to be Brett Rippon for the next couple weeks or, depending on how long Matt Stafford is out or if he even comes back. It's pretty wild to think, So it's like your Puka Nacua shares, your Cooper Kupp. Now I'm thinking Mike Kyron Williams when he comes back in a couple weeks. Like this entire offense takes a hit by not even having a quarterback.
Well, I'm just glad that at least for Puka Nacua's sake, Cooper Kupp's sake, the team's sake overall, they were smart and held Matt Stafford out of this game, and especially because they have the bye week next week. So he has
Mhm.
2 straight weeks in a row to heal up. Because Matt Stafford, he's a tough player. If he can play through an injury, he'll try to play through an injury.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then another injury because of the Curtis Samuel. You saw Deshaun or uh, what's his name? Jahan Dotson.
Jahan Dotson, yeah.
What? Yeah, okay. Oh, brain fart there. Yeah, you saw him go off, and then look at this. Same thing with McLaurin. So it looks like they get more of this receiving work with Curtis Samuel being gone.
Yeah.
Funny thing is down here, your Jacoby Myers here, he continues to be the number 1 receiver, which is really weird, considering you have Devontae Adams, even with Josh McDaniels being fired.
Yeah, I was watching that game, and anytime it came on, I was actually really glad to see that he was getting targets. So I'm thinking, obviously with a rookie quarterback, it's going to be up and down. But if he's getting the targets, at least the opportunity is there.
He's another thing that they utilize. You have the rushing yards here.
Mm-hmm.
They also utilize him in like that sweep.
Yeah.
The handoff. So sometimes it's like, just like when Kellen Moore was with Dallas and Tony Pollard was super successful last year, it was always to the outside. So if your boy Myers gets this, that's just like Deebo Samuel bonus points,
Yep, agreed.
And then a couple more. You have some because you have a ton of interesting players here. That's down week. Dalton Kincaid, especially with Knox being out, he's going to continue to produce, especially because you have your Goddard now.
Yep.
Most likely on IR with that surgery for his fractured arm. The weird one is Ken Walker right here with 2 points.
Yeah, this one I was so frustrated with. The Seahawks couldn't get anything going on the ground. And we've seen Ken Walker be pretty efficient in the passing game. But the rookie backup, Zach Charbonnet, apparently he's a lot better in the passing game than Ken Walker is. So they pretty much, for this Baltimore game, they had him out pretty much the entire time. So, I mean, it's fair because Baltimore is a very tough defense, especially up against the run. But it was unfortunate that they didn't even try to mix Ken Walker in a little bit more than they did.
Well, the thing is, when we had our draft, this was the very thing that I was afraid of. And a lot of the analysts were talking, why would you draft a running back so high if you already like Walker, And it's like, even Pete Carroll goes to the RBBC at some point or, starts shifting that way where, the Le'Veon Bell cow types is really rare nowadays. So, I mean, even Zach Charbonnet's, the 2-minute drill, even when it's close, I noticed that.
Yeah. Well, the thing that really hurt Ken Walker for sure in this game was, and it's been happening the past couple of weeks too, was just the fact that the Seahawks, their air game, their passing game has not been good. Geno Smith hasn't been playing as well as he did last year. He's not looking great. And then also, the wide receivers, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, they're kind of banged up a little bit. So it's rough going all around for the Seattle offense.
Yep. Your boy, Geno Smith is what we always knew. Last year was kind of an anomaly. It wasn't the norm. So he kind of regresses back to his backup.
Yeah, somebody had asked me before, like, oh, Geno Smith, I didn't know he was a starter. And I had mentioned it. Yeah, he was a starter last year, just kind of by default. And then I also mentioned, he's been in the league for a while, but he's been a career backup the entire time. And there's a reason why he's been a career backup. So.
Exactly.
All right, well, that's enough about my pitiful team here for this week. Let's move over to Alex's team. This week, Alex started Sam Howell, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Kyle Pitts, George Pickens, and DK Metcalf. So taking a look here really quick, I'm seeing George Pickens very sad with the 0.90. It might as well have been a goose egg here. With a -1 reception yards. How did you feel about that?
To be honest, I don't remember seeing any of that game. Let's
It
see,
wasn't
who's
on
on?
red zone that much. It was kind of off and on, but I think most of the time I saw this game on, it was usually Tennessee had the ball.
Yeah, I remember. I remember a couple times maybe Deontay Johnson getting a couple
Hmm.
catches on red zone, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, for me, George Pickens was my dude, even during the draft. The younger player, second year rookie breakout. Um, but Deontay Johnson has just been looking really good. So
Yeah.
at this point, if the offense isn't that good, especially under Matt Canada, it's just going to be a hit or miss. George Pickens is going to be like my Zay Flowers, where it's kind of maybe the deep ball threat, something that's going to be a higher A dot,
Right.
but not necessarily like the safer checkdowns for a safer floor.
Okay. So you had Amari Cooper and you traded him to Alex. How do you feel seeing Amari Cooper go off for 25 here?
Yeah, I'm regretting that a little bit here, considering I kind of knew. So I was posturing for playoffs with my last couple trades.
Right.
I took the risk with Bijan Robinson, hopefully, hoping that Arthur Smith will either get fired or pull his head out of his butt. Um, and well, he thinks his own farts smell good, so
Yeah. So far, neither of that has happened.
he's gonna. And the Amari Cooper one here was just to kind of get separation between Jerome Ford and Amari Cooper, because I didn't want to start two Browns players. That's kind of low upside.
Hmm.
And then Cooper also has a tougher playoff schedule if you look at it. I think one of the teams is the Jets. So pretty tough playoff schedule, but I kind of expected this with Amari Cooper. He has a really nice middle of the season schedule.
Hmm.
So even though he was kind of saved by that touchdown, I mean, 139 receiving yards. He was a number one. I told Alex that was a sideways trade. Maybe even Cooper getting the little bump here just because
Right.
of number one usage. Let's see.
That's
Crazy
almost,
one here. Look at
sorry. Go ahead.
good.
No, I was just gonna say
No,
for Cooper, that was almost 30 yards per catch. So that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, he's been super solid. I
Hmm.
mean, the few bad games that he's had is, what Deshaun Watson or was it PJ Walker? So it's always a fluctuating quarterback, and Deshaun Watson's rotator cuff.
Yeah.
Or I was gonna say, moving on here to Tyreek Hill. Look at Miami here. First of all, Miami with another loss against a contending team.
Yep.
So again, we're talking about my trade here with Amari Cooper, and the other one I traded was Raheem Mostert, and even that one's kind of right now not panning out, at least with Bijan Robinson.
Right.
Mostert scored 2 touchdowns now in a row. But yeah, Miami is kind of, are they fool's gold at this point? Or
I think they're missing some pieces. They talk about
they're banged up on the O line.
Yeah, they talk about getting speed, but they're banged up on the O line. They haven't been able to protect. And you talk about Mostert having the 2 touchdowns, but a lot of that really has been like closer towards the goal line. When they're further like midfield, they have a hard time breaking big plays, which is weird because Miami's a very speedy team, but I don't think Mostert's the speedy back. That's my boy Achan, who's still on IR right now.
No, they're both speedy backs. Actually, I believe Mostert actually has a faster time. He has a faster 40. You remember him and Tyreek Hill actually having that race to see who has a faster 40?
Was that with Mostert?
So
Okay.
that's why Miami, all 3 of them, they're considered the fastest team in the NFL.
Right. Even with
It's just-
Jalen Waddle too.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's necessarily their speed. I don't know if it's maybe other teams are either catching on, especially the contending teams like KC right here.
Right.
We know that their defense is probably one of the best in the league right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it's fun for fantasy, but I don't know. Real world wise, that's yeah, no buenos.
No,
But
it's not. But I mean, moving on with Alex's team, when you have players like Derrick Henry, who's posting up another pretty efficient game, again getting involved in the passing game, this is something that's going to help Alex's team stay in the top three, vying for a top three spot into the playoffs.
he's got a solid team.
Mhm.
I'll just say that the other two bench players that he has that are impacted by injury is Alexander Madison here.
Yep.
With Cam Akers and sadly the torn Achilles again. So
Mhm.
yeah, he has it on both legs. I posted that news on Reddit, and I'm still getting updates about people just going through that form. It's pretty wild that kind of sucks for Cam Akers. He's only 24, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's huge news for Madison here, getting more work. And then Jahmyr Gibbs. News came out of Detroit today that David Montgomery is probably gonna. It looks like he's gonna be back this week.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see. It looks like Jahmyr Gibbs gained, he earned a little bit more rushing work.
Yeah.
But Dan Campbell is always like that. Jamal Williams kind of, bruising back, especially in the red zone. So we'll see how this, really impacts Jahmyr Gibbs' usage here.
Yeah, I think it'll allot the Lions to kind of utilize Gibbs a little bit more, of not necessarily strictly as a gadget player, but kind of put him out wide a little bit more, put Monty in the backfield and then kind of split Gibbs out wide, and then they have that passing attack.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if they're both used at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely interesting. But either way, that's it for this recap. Congrats on the win here, Alex. I was hoping. Last night, going into Monday, I was looking at my team and what I needed. I had 3 players left. You were done. I needed 18 points from each player just to tie the game.
That was doable.
It was something doable, but it was also like a big ask also. So, but either way, again, congrats on the win. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.